Hi, my name is Linda Siemens from Floating Down the River. Welcome to my session called Drumming for Stress Relief and Fun. My session is videotaped, but I'll be available during the session to answer questions. Feel free to ask in the comments. Also, I will be giving some drumming packs away and will give instructions at the end of class for how you can get into a drawing for them. In this session, I will be discussing ways to help students feel included, comfortable, and open to expressing themselves in drumming to relieve stress and anxiety with some solid ideas and activities you can use online or in the classroom. My drumming journey has been a varied one. I was first introduced to drumming by my co-teacher and friend, Juliana Gilseth. She had many drums in her room and held before school drumming classes, which I attended. After working with her as a co-teacher, I took over my own school and did mostly song and literacy drumming, which I still love to do, teaching students about various holidays or topics by using drumming and layering the words. I will show you one of those today. A few years ago, I went to a world music drumming workshop in Iowa and I loved it. I have since taught some of the world music drumming curriculum and am taking some world music drumming online classes this summer. I felt a great need to get more into therapeutic drumming the past few years, and the onset of COVID-19 has pushed me more in that direction. For many years, I was in Kodály classrooms where it was not performance-based except for our choirs. Then I was in a school for 2 years where my drumming and other instrument teaching was performance-based. That was so stressful for students and the teacher. I've always been one of those people who feels stressed by performance pressure, so I've worked hard to find ways to do fun and stress-relieving drumming. I feel like it's even more important now with what our students have been experiencing. This past year, I began teaching in a private school part-time, as well as doing some subbing for my past district teachers, where I was able to not worry about performance. I've continued to learn about therapeutic drumming, was planning to do a Remo Health Rhythms facilitator course, but it has been postponed because of COVID-19. I look forward to doing that in the future. I'll start with a few principles you can use to help your students feel less anxiety and more comfortable drumming. 1, if you can, put your drummers into a circle so they don't always look at you as the only person with the answers. In time, you hope they all feel like they are teachers and contributors. 2, it's best to have at least 15 students in a room so they feel supported. If you do have small groups or if you aren't comfortable drumming, you can turn on a recording and drum to that. I will give you some ideas for that in the next section. Be careful of the language you use. Never say phrases like real musicians or real drummers do this. 4, use inclusive language and language of positivity, emphasizing what they can do and instead of what they can't do. 5, make your drum group about fun and creativity rather than right or wrong ways of drumming. 6, never put a drummer on the spot if they don't want to do something on their own. Put kids into group parts when drumming unless you feel like a particular drummer is very confident. 7, have the group sometimes close their eyes. This creates a feel of safety. 8, have fun games and jokes for the group. 9, drum along to songs sometimes, especially if they've learned a new pattern. We will be learning a pattern later to drum along with. 10, have students play to someone across the circle or beside them. That helps them feel less self-conscious. 11, have students play on someone else's drum, although this may not work in the age of COVID, but it is fun to do when you can. Remind students to take a deep breath and to relax shoulders. 13, make sure you do some icebreakers. It builds camaraderie in the group. 14, do soundscapes where there are no exact beats. You can even do a rain composition where you tap on your beat, swish, and do louder sounds. That's really fun. Or use instruments such as thunder tubes, tongue drums, and other fun instruments. 15, be humble and admit your mistakes as a teacher or facilitator. It helps students feel as if it's okay to make mistakes. I'll start with some ideas for online drumming. To be honest, there really is no online way to do drumming together where you can hear each other and it is in sync. You can present concepts and have students drum, but it is best to mute everyone so the sound is not out of sync and they can only hear you. Hopefully in the future we'll get some software or an app that will help us to do choirs or drumming in sync. Be sure your kids have some ideas of what they can use for drums. I looked around my house and you can find so many things. I do have my favorite, which are these ice cream buckets, large ice cream buckets that were donated to me. I use these even in subbing. They're great, they're light, they can stack, and you could take this on a cart or in a wagon if you have to move from room to room. They also have lids with them that are great for drums. You can use gallon ice cream buckets, and you could have parents say these. I would definitely take off the strap on there. They will use it as a hat, which they probably will do anyway, but it's nice to take that off. Many people right now have Clorox boxes. These are great drums. I looked in my cupboard and found Nesquik chocolate, which would be a nice drum. And I found plastic cup, which also makes a drum. You can use so many different things, cans or even a toilet paper roll, which isn't quite as fun. With younger students, you can have students use the drum for counting as you use particular books. I looked quickly in my stack of books and found a couple of fun things I could use. Click, clack, splish, splash goes through and counts animals doing various motions. And the farmer. Farmer's sleeping, 1. 2 feet creeping, 1, 2. It goes through and keeps counting animals. I love how in the middle, all the animals go to shore, and you can do a drum roll and then keep using that for counting. Another favorite book I use for drumming and vocal play is The Doorbell Rang by Pat Hutchins. I've used this for many years. It has Sam and Victoria, whose mother made them a big plate of cookies, and you could drum for each cookie. There's 12 cookies, and they're going to share them together. It shows them having lots of friends come to the door, and the doorbell keeps ringing. I use resonator bells, or you could use your voice or whatever you have to sing ding dong, have the students copy you. It's a good way to work on in-tune singing. And once they get to first grade, then it's so me. And you could, as they come, you can talk about how to divide up the cookies. So Tom and Hannah from next door come in, and you can divide up the cookies. You could drum about 3 cookies each or add them all up. And they keep having kids come to the door, tons of friends keep coming to the door, and you can just keep drumming about the cookies and singing the doorbell. And at the end, they have 12 friends that come that are at there, and they have 1 cookie each, but yet the doorbell keeps ringing. They don't know what to do. And finally, they open, and it's grandma with a ton of cookies, and you can end by, again, doing your roll. That's a really fun book. You can also use the drums to echo phrases, such as in the song or book, There Was an Old Lady Who Swallowed a Fly. There was an old lady who swallowed a fly. I don't know why she swallowed the fly. Perhaps she'll die. Every time you sing that phrase, the students can join along with you. You can use it also for songs like Row, Row, Row Your Boat to do all of the words. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. And then with the older students, 3rd and up, maybe even 2nd if you work hard on it to get the words really good, you can do a round, which is really fun. Having part of the students start, and then the next students join in on the words and the drumming. Another song I like to do in a round is Make New Friends. That's a very positive and fun song. I learned the next fun activity from an ORF board member at a local workshop a few years ago. I've used it successfully in my classes at school for years, as well as in subbing last year. Every class I've done it with has loved it. Again, I use my ice cream buckets for this, and it has 3 parts, so I teach each part to every student, and then we layer things. First part, ta, ti, ta, ti, ta, up, down. Ta, ti, ta, ti, ta, up, down. Make sure you emphasize to the students that they need to keep a steady beat and not rush, because the next part would be really hard. Part 2, it's important that the students have their hands on the sides of the bucket and they twirl rather than toss, although in my video I show you, you will see some students tossing it a little. 1, 2, 3, down. 1, 2, 3, down. 1, 2, 3, down. 1, 2, 3, down. Emphasize your fingers are on the tips, makes it twirl a little better. Make sure their hands are not on top, because the third part we use our bucket lid and we go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, hit, 1, 2, 3, hit, 1, 2, 3, hit. Now, this bucket over here, students are twirling, and the hit is coming on the fourth beat when it's on the ground. And so with your younger kids, you may not get to this third part, or it may just take a lot of practice, but make sure their hands are on the sides of the drum so it doesn't get hit. I'm going to show you a video of some students from about 12 years ago, and we did an arrangement. It wasn't starting with part 1, but I did some layering, and we added with a steady beat, started with a steady beat. I will show you just a little part of that. Another thing I love to do is teach about various topics using phrases for drumming and then layering them. As I said before, I love to do this for holidays or teaching any concept. The teachers love it when you add in history or other things. A few years ago when we had the solar eclipse, I taught about outer space and solar eclipses. And I will show you, I've done many of these. I'm going to give some of these away free at the end. I will show you, let me share the screen. How I do these. So I would teach about various concepts. Astronaut, I don't have very much time in my classes, so sometimes I just summarize some of this. Taught about the space shuttle and some of the facts about it. Meteors, taught about that. Milky Way galaxy, and then I did the solar eclipse, what it's about, and about the glasses. These are special glasses. Then I would read the words with the students. We would read it together. Astronaut. I do this even as young as first grade. Clap and say the rhythm. Now my first graders don't know the half note yet, and I use my rhythm words, rhythm language. So ta, ta, tu, use whatever is you use in your school. So I would say, clap and say the rhythm, ta, ta, tu. We do that together. Then we play it on our drum. The little lines on there mean to do a roll. So astronaut. And then finally, we play it with a steady beat. So we'll do it over and over in a steady beat. Astronaut, astronaut, and we play that over and over. Next, we would layer these rhythms. I would assign 4 different parts, or in this case, there's 6 parts to different students in groups to make sure they feel comfortable in numbers. And space shuttle, meteor. So I would do this, we would do separately each of these rhythms together, saying the word, clapping and saying the rhythm, playing it on a drum, and then playing a steady beat. Then we would start adding it all together. I used the app Acapella, and my husband, who is a very good drummer, percussionist and pianist and organist, and very good at his roles, he made a video in Acapella. Acapella is not the best app, so it'd be nice to find one that syncs a little better, but this will give you an idea of layering the rhythms. Ready, go.
Space shuttle, space shuttle, space shuttle, space shuttle, Milky Way galaxy, Milky Way galaxy, solar galaxy, solar galaxy, solar galaxy, solar galaxy.
Another activity I love to do for all ages and can be done in the classroom or online is to teach a particular drum beat and then play along to classical or popular music. I love to teach a rock beat that is right hand in the middle and left hand on the edge. Right, left, right, left. And you can start slowly and then speed that up and play along with popular song. I like to do Count on Me, which is a very fun song. I first play the intro to help them get the feeling for the beat.
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark.
And you can play all kinds of popular songs. If you feel that's too fast, you can go into the settings on YouTube and change the speed of the settings. And I will give you some other ideas of songs you can play along with your students as well. Those are some online ideas, but I'll now give you some in-person ideas that are great. I learned about name games at World Music Drummings. I would first teach the game to your students. The teacher says, "What's your name?" I'm going to be the student, "Mrs. Siemens." Then the teacher says, "What's her name?" The students answer back, "Mrs. Siemens." And I will do one from my daughter-in-law who is from Mexico and has a longer name. The teacher says, "What's your name?" Student says, "Alejandra Martinez Zapata." The teacher says, "What's her name?" Students say, "Alejandra Martinez Zapata." You can even notate the rhythm if you want to also teach the rhythm. Remember to ask for volunteers so students who aren't comfortable will not feel stressed about that. But in time, if you do this regularly, all students will feel comfortable doing it. With students who have had some recent trauma over COVID fears, being isolated, doing school at home, or many other stresses, here's another exercise you can do to help them express themselves. I don't know anyone who hasn't experienced stress of some kind. Catherine and Sally Robinson, who are drum circle facilitators, regularly do this activity with students or even in old folks' homes so they can speak about their emotions and stresses. As a teacher, you would say, "Everyone think of a time in the last few months or week that put you in a difficult situation where you felt stressed or unhappy. Sometimes things are difficult to express in words. Can you play on the drum how you felt?" This would be especially good this year as you start school. Tell the students you will start, and then some of them can raise their hand and express their feelings. So I'm feeling worried about a son who started a company consulting and was doing so well, but when COVID-19 started, he now is not having as much business. So I'm going to say my rhythm is worried about my son. Then I want you to take 5 seconds to think of a stress you feel and do it on your legs or on the drum you have found at home. This could be a thing that you do regularly with your students so that they can learn to express their frustrations. Another example of a really fun icebreaker game is from Christine Stevens, who wrote The Art and Heart of Drum Circles. She has a game called the Body Beat Body Percussion Game. I'll give you a link to her game, and you're going to watch a video of that as well. She has different actions: snap, clap, whap on your body, lap, which is tapping on your lap, and tap, which is with your feet. She uses 6 different cards to teach different actions and rhythms. She teaches by rote and hands out various cards, duplicating them in her circle. It is such a fun game. She has a bunch of variations. I'm going to show you a video of that.
Tap, lap, clap, snap, whap. Okay, take a look at your card. So on your card, you have a pattern. Every little drum is a drum beat. There's 4 beats on your card. Squiggly lines mean you play 2 of those sounds together. You didn't get a card? No. It's good when everybody gets a card. Who has a red card? You are the beat keepers. There should be a couple. Who else has red? 2 reds. Okay, start the pulse. You two are clapping the pulse. All right, here's the beat. Now take a look at your card. Now, pink cards, come on in. Snap, snap. And yellow cards, come on in. Green cards, come on in. Orange cards, come on in. Blue cards, come on in. What did I forget? Oh yeah, every game has a wild card. In this game, we have a go wild card. So all the purple, come on in, make up your own.
And I will put this in your handout as well so you can see that, how that works. It's really a fun game that she has done. Another game is called Rhythm Monsters. This is from the book Interactive Rhythm. It has 25 games that you can use, so many fun games. This is by Dave Holland. I'll give you the link to that. You can order. And his Rhythm Monsters games, you divide students into 4 groups. It could even be socially distanced groups, and put 2 kids on each part so they feel supported. Each group will do 1 beat of a rhythm, adding up to their rhythm monster. You can teach them to do swishes, things like this, loud slaps on the side, middle, varied rhythms. They could even do movements or words. So I made up my own to give them an example. Make monsters go away. You can do your own examples and then let them be creative. Once they've done a 4-beat rhythm together, then they can do 2 beats each and then go to 4 beats each. It's really fun. Last thing I'd like to talk about are the Remo sound shapes that I introduced earlier. They have a good sound, and they come, the set of 5, they actually have more than just circles. There are some other shapes as well. They come with 2 different, there's a couple of mallets like this that are quieter, and then these mallets that are noisier, but you can see this is a higher sound. I'll just use the louder, and the bigger drum, so you can teach about physics, how the drum gets louder, the bigger it gets. And you can do one, Christine suggests doing a drum parade where you have students have a certain rhythm that goes with the green or the yellow drum. There are so many different games you can play. I actually ordered some sound shape books. Let me share the screen. There's Sound Shape Playbook. That's Christine Stevens and Lynn Kleiner. And then Sound Shapes, Rhythms, and More. I think there's some more. This is my Art and Heart of Drum Circles. It has a lot of facilitator and therapeutic ideas in it that I loved. I just finished that on Audible. That's a great book. But the Sound Shape books, one of the games that Christine Stevens and Lynn Kleiner do is using the sound shapes to play Twister. They actually use the game board and a Twister, what do you call that, spinner. And they would say, I don't think there's an orange on the Twister game, so they would use the red, blue, green, or yellow. And if it lands on the right hand red, they would play, anybody with a red drum would play on their drums, and some students would be on the Twister board. Obviously, in COVID times, you may not want to be doing the Twister board, but you could at least use your drums. And there's all kinds of fun activities. I love about these, they're flat. They don't take up very much room, so it would be easy to carry on a cart or in a wagon, whatever you have in your school. They don't take up much room at all. You can wipe them off with just a cloth, so they're easy to share. And they have a pretty good sound, so I love these. You can get them at West Music or lots of other places. And I will have a couple links on there. I don't get anything from showing these. I just thought they were a really neat drum that I've just learned about recently. I'd like to thank you so much for coming to my session on drumming for stress relief and fun. I hope you've gotten a few ideas. I'm going to do a giveaway of 3 packs. If you'll just put a comment in this Facebook thread about something you learned, I will choose 3 different people and send a PM to them. My handout will be in my Teacher Pay Teacher store called Floating Down the River, and I'll put it at the top so you can easily find that. I'm so thrilled that you could be here, and I hope you gained some new ideas for teaching online or in the classroom. Please email me at siemensfloatingdowntheriver@gmail.com if you have any other questions. Again, my handout will be in my Teachers Pay Teachers store called Floating Down the River. I'll put it at the top so it's easy to find, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the virtual conference.